All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99, all boxing everything. Make sure y'all subscribe. All right, y'all, just back to give my thoughts on this Tank Davis Frank Martin fight. Well, pretty much this fight went the way I felt it was gonna go. I know some people had hope in Frank Martin, feeling like he had the speed and the footwork to maybe get his point across in this fight. Some people felt he could box his way to a decision or maybe even hurt Tank or frustrate Tank. But this is what I've been telling people before about Tank Davis. He's not just a puncher. He's a good pressure fighter. He knows how to set traps, but overall, Tank is really a thinking fighter. Tank knows how to break his opponents down. Before the fight even starts. He knows how to play those mental gymnastics with a lot of fighters, and I think that's one of the things that kind of puts a little bit of intimidation factor in there. But aside from the power, it already has them thinking like, okay, what am I going to do to really hurt this guy, because he's either shoving them or getting up in their face, and that kind of takes him out of their game plan right away. And once again, he kind of does that with Frank Martin. I mean, shout out to Frank Martin. He's a good fighter. I've seen a number of his fights. Followed his career in the beginning, and well, not in the very beginning, but I have seen a few of his fights. But even the last fight out I was kind of like questioning, like, I don't know how well he'll do against a Tank Davis. One thing I've already said before is, like, when you fight a guy like Tank Davis who likes to mental bully you, and he packs that type of power, you have to have physical strength, and you got to have enough pop in your own shots to get your point across and to make him mad. You got to make Tank fight angry, and that's the thing. Tank, you might say, oh, this guy's mean. Well, he might be a mean fighter, but he's not fighting mad. There's a difference. Like, when you fight angry, we know how fights turn out for people that just fight off emotions. Tank, he's not fighting off that type of emotion where he's angry in there. No, like, he's having fun in there, and that's how he's going to keep on winning. When a guy has fun in there, like Roy Jones said, when you look at it as fun and not a job, you'll keep on winning. And Frank Martin didn't really have those type of tools to make Tank Davis angry. Right from the jump, I knew that was going to be the game plan. Start with the first round with Frank Martin to move. When you fight a power puncher like that, a lot of these boxers that don't have that type of power, what are they going to do? They're going to use their footwork. And it was working. It was working for the first number of rounds. Like, I saw Frank Martin in there winning maybe the first 4 or 5 rounds, okay? Now, the first few rounds, what he was doing was what anybody would do to avoid the power. They're just constantly throwing out the jab, throwing flurries out, even if it's hitting the guard, just moving and tying Tank up, pushing Tank back, which is what I was like. I was liking that. I was liking how Frank Martin was using his physical strength, and that's something you need. You need to tie guys up, lean on them, but you got to get dirty in there. You got to get dirty. You got to be able to hurt them. And I do think that Frank Martin was landing some good left hands here and there. Like, he would land a good combination in with a jab, and he would put a little mark on, he would put a good shot down the middle on Tank, and he was putting a little mark on the right side of Tank's face with his left hand. But you could see, like, in round 4, when Tank started to catch up, he started to put that pressure on him when he was hitting his guard. Like, you could see the reaction, like the little feints he was doing, like how there was a point when he backed Frank Martin into the ropes, and he had a little feint, and right away you see, like, Frank Martin kind of flinch and throw up the right hand to kind of block the right side of his temple, and Tank just smiles because he's like, okay, I got him right where I want him. So going into, like, round 5, you just start to see Tank come on stronger and, start to put together those singles and doubles, good hard right hooks and those straight left hands. You just see that reaction going into, like, round 6 and 7. Like, he's slowly breaking Frank Martin down with these, not even with his shots, but just with the pressure and how he's, he constantly backing him up. That's another way you put that mental fatigue on a fighter. Like, even when you're not hitting the guy solid and you just backing him up, that's making them think, because Frank Martin, he's constantly thinking, oh man, when's that big shot? When's that big shot coming? Gotta move. He's physically using a lot of energy, but at the same time mentally thinking about when that big punch is coming. And that's why by round 6 and 7, you could really see the fight started going into Tank's favor, putting more in those 1-2s down the pipe and those hard hooks, man. Oh man, that left uppercut he throws too, like whenever Frank Martin dips low, you can hear it cracking right in the chest and in the body, so body shots are starting to add up at this point. Going into round 8, you see Tank Davis just having fun at this point, just kind of backing him up, hitting him with them hard shots. Output, the volume is going down for Frank Martin. Legs are getting slower at this point, and he's just becoming that stationary target. And as he backs into the ropes again, that straight left hand hit him. And then Tank hits him with another good left across the chin that just, takes him off the ropes. And then as he's going down, catches a left uppercut, and that one puts him out, and he's done on his back. And I was like, oh, there it is. There it is, So, yeah, Tank Davis gets an 8th round knockout over Frank Martin. That's pretty much how I saw it going. I kind of seen it maybe like a 6 or 7, actually. There's going to be like a slow, methodical breakdown like this. But, yeah, like I said, Tank didn't even have to, like, beat him up. Like, he just used a lot of pressure just to kind of mental fatigue him and just show him that, oh, you can't hurt me, you can't hit me clean. Like, he did get off some clean shots on Tank, some good combinations, but for the most part, nothing that was going to really hurt him. Frank Martin fighting off the back foot and not really able to dictate the pace in the center of the ring and time Tank where he could sit down on punches. That's where his downfall was. It was just kind of like a pity pat game off the back foot where you can't really sit down on punches. Frank was never able to sit down on shots in this fight. He was so keen on just moving to avoid Tank Davis's power. And, who could blame him? You know what I mean? Like, but that's the thing. Like, you got to have that game plan where you control the center of the ring on Tank, where you can sit down on your punches, and you have to time Tank, and like I said, you got to be rugged and rough in there too. You got to bully him back. Frank, big guy. I know people were saying that the weight cut was rough on him, but hey, he made the weight. It's the weight they wanted to fight at. So hey, it is what it is. Tank Davis got a legit knockout. But the thing is, Tank moving forward, he wants those guys like at this point what Shakur says he wants to fight. So he needs those guys. That's the thing. Tank Davis, he needs those type of guys. I want to see him fight Shakur. He said Loma. Let's see if he can retire Loma. But Loma is that type of guy that makes you think as well. Loma throws volume. We'll see if his angles can bother Tank. Again, Tank, he's also an angle guy, and he's a thinking fighter. So I'm ready to see those matchups now. We've been seeing this for a while now where, Tank is fighting these guys. Some of these guys that are still on the come up, but now I'm ready to see him fight some veterans and some real slick boxers like Shakur and Loma, even though I think that Tank will beat both of them. I do think he will beat both of them, which I'll talk about in another video. But guys, let me know what y'all think. Shout out to Frank Martin for taking the task, for taking the fight. What do y'all want to see him do next from here? All boxing, everything. Make sure y'all subscribe. I'm out. Peace.